Hey everyone. Hey Bloomies. It's your girl Kris with a K, and this is the Blooming Lately podcast, a podcast for late bloomers from a late bloomer. And I like to say that we are not late, we're just blooming on our own time. This is not a traditional episode recording format. It is more vlog style today. I'm preparing for a trip, so please excuse you are in my car. I call my car Grayson. I drive a gray Toyota Corolla, and so Grayson is his name. And I actually do a lot of car talks. I don't really post them all, but this is where we're at today. I didn't want to not give you guys an episode. I've been trying to be more consistent with dropping episodes on Sundays, so this will not be released as early on Sunday morning like I usually like to, but hey, we're here. I am preparing for a trip this week. Shout out to my cousin Deja. We're going on her 30th birthday cruise. And so, all of the essential things, getting the nails done, getting the hair done, getting your feet done, and the outfits and all of that. So, it's been a whirlwind of a week, especially tying up any loose ends at work. I am starting ahead of the spring break rush of things, so I will be out while everyone is still at work wrapping things up for before the official spring break, which I actually prefer, being off when everybody else is relatively working. Um, but all of that entails just dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's and prioritizing what things can wait until you come back. Any things you need to follow up on, stuff like that. So that was primarily this past week. I've been having on my mind like record, 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 but I like to record when it feels authentic, especially when it's a solo episode. Um, I I have so many topics and episodes like concepts in mind, but unless the inspiration strikes and it's gonna come off authentic um, and organic in the conversation, I don't want to force it. I feel like you can feel that, and the format of this show is so conversational and chill. Um, I was like, I'm gonna just get on here and tap in with the people. But one topic that I definitely want to discuss, it's been trending the last couple weeks, um, but it's about body positivity. And I usually stay away from that topic because of the feelings that comes up for me. Um, I've never really aligned with the body positivity movement, but here's why. It really made me realize the internalized fat phobia that I have. And as much as I definitely, it's interesting. I support it and I understand the reasoning for it. I benefit from the body positivity movement, and I appreciate those who are at the forefront of it and those who are maintaining and sticking true to the true message, which is that is more so just acceptance of all body types and shapes and all what it can and cannot do. Like, it's just accepting where you are, and it's just gotten twisted and tainted into glorifying being obese. And it's like no one's glorifying anything. We're just saying those of us who are obese or overweight or don't fit the ideal um, body shape or size, more accurately. We're just saying this is the body that we have. And yes, we're, not all bigger bodies equal being unhealthy. Being unhealthy is regardless of weight, you know? But this is the body that we have now. It's 2026. This body has gotten me through so many things in the past 36 years, including COVID. So I'm going to embrace that. And I've gotten better at practicing gratitude and highlighting all of the things that my body does do for me and how it works rather than focusing on its flaws and how it doesn't look and how it doesn't feel. Um, but we just see how, like, just the fat phobia in society, like, similar to Black Lives Matter, like in that movement, we're not saying that we're the only ones that matter, but we're just saying we matter too. Like that's how I can see the correlation with body positivity and like so many other movements. It's just we want to highlight we are here as well. Do not forget us. Like we are a marginalized community that we just want to say, hey, I'm over here. Don't forget about me. Um, and so there were a couple. I don't really keep up with the exact influencers, but there were some who were kind of denouncing it, or I don't know. I like to stay away from that. But the reason why I never really championed it or would identify as a body positive um, promoter or whatever is, again, the internalized fat phobia that I have from society's messaging, from conditioning, from expectations, from messaging, receiving from my family. Like, those were my close influences. I've always been pleasantly plump um, since childhood. And so being made to be ashamed of your body and to not be accepting of your body from a very young age, it does taint your perception of yourself. Um, and in that, I would find myself feeling uncomfortable when I saw people who look like me being on the forefront of a movement like that, and showing off their body and wanting to wear the things. Like, just because you're in a bigger body doesn't mean you need to wear a tent. You need to wear ugly clothes. Like, so it was two-sided. It was a two-sided experience for me. I can see it on social media, and I would say that is beautiful for them. That's how, like, for whatever reason, I always would remove it. I love that for you. I am not the type of person that on social media behaves in because I don't like their content or because they, what they're doing brings up something in me, so now I'm going to make a negative comment or, you know, shame their work or, no. If it makes me uncomfortable, there's mute, there's scrolling by, there's unfollowing. I can do the things to preserve my peace and leave them alone. They are allowed to do what they want to do, and especially if they're not harming anyone. If anything, they are doing the work that people like me benefit from. But in that, I would start paying attention to what is it about this influencer or about this messaging that made me feel uncomfortable? What was it bringing up? Like, why do I not identify or align with it when I am finally getting the representation and seeing people that look like me embracing the things about themselves that I was made to shame myself for? And it's a really tough space to be in, because I want to get to that place of being shameless and being proud and confident and just existing. Like they're just highlighting, I love looking cute. I am beautiful. My body looks like this, but so what? Like, this is the body that I have, and I am working on, like everyone should be working on, just getting healthier and being fit and more active. But until I get to that goal weight or to that goal size, this is the body that I have right now. So what am I supposed to do between here and there? Not exist, wear ugly clothes, not have access to, nice brands and things like that. So that's where it was just like, when processing and just going over, like, damn, that internalized fat phobia is wild. And then it turned into like anger because I hated that I couldn't allow myself to align with the message and just even be so public about it. Like, this is my first time talking about it publicly and my experience of it, because it just brought up so many like childhood traumas associated with being plus size, full figure. These are nicer terms. I was called fatso, a butterball, all of the things, all of the nicknames that associated with being bigger and plump. It was not cute, especially in the 90s. Ruthless, Caribbean family, rough child. Like, how harmful is it to be told by an elder that you look up to, that, oh, I had a dream that you lost weight and you were so pretty. So now little baby Kris, how else is she supposed to accept that or internalize that for, oh, maybe I'll be accepted or acknowledged or considered when I'm a smaller size? Then that led to emotional eating, binge eating disorder, just shaming myself, internalized fatphobia. Like, it just, the domino effect of damage that came from that messaging. Being told, like, oh, you look pretty for a big girl. How about you look pretty? Why do we have to add the extra part? What am I supposed to do with that information? The double-sided compliment, you keep it, because you canceled out the compliment with something negative, so it neutralized it. I don't give that to me. So, seeing the fallout of it and how it started, the other side of, again, society just shaming you for being in a bigger body. You're glorifying obesity. But I wanted to look cute. I never lied about my knees hurting and my back hurting. I'm not glorifying this, but this is the body that I'm in, and I deserve to look cute and deserve to look fly. But it just is so frustrating, this topic. And I'm working on getting better. I can so freely, speak about how I recognize my own, biases towards it, while still, again, championing. It still makes me a little uncomfortable, and I hate that for me. Hate that I feel uncomfortable in just even accepting that label. And it's just, I applaud people, those influencers who do it so bravely. And because I learned to master the art of concealing and hiding, that being a part of a movement or speaking on a topic that makes you public and visible freaks me out. I don't need the world stage to see something that I have been made to learn to cover up, which is just my body. From very young, I knew what a girdle was because it flattens your stomach. Kids' clothes only went to certain sizes. I was wearing juniors' clothes at a younger age because that's where they could fit my size. Things like family gatherings, holidays. As much as I loved it so much for the sense of community and I love being around family, I realized, shout out to therapy again, that I would have extreme anxiety. I would just internalize it because I knew it was as much as I loved the reunion aspect, I loved seeing family come together, and there's always nostalgia and talking about the good old days and, catching up on, life and all of the things. At some point, the spotlight was going to turn to me and my weight. Oh, because Caribbean people, they don't know how to say hi. Oh, you got so big. Oh, you're gaining weight. Oh, you're too pretty to be doing all of that. You should, are you exercising? Are you in a diet? I knew about diet culture from a young age. I was eating plain oatmeal. Disgusting. I knew about Slim Fast. I was on the Slim Fast shakes. I was on the Kellogg's diet. At some point in time, I did Weight Watchers. All of the things, child, the restriction, which is what led to me developing a binge eating disorder. I was just eating things sneakily as my big F you, just because, and it would always be in secret, because being told as a kid who just wants to be a normal kid and eat the things that kids eat, no, you can't have that because your body looks this way, or because you can't fit these clothes. Mind you, I never had any issues keeping up with the kids in my neighborhood. We always running around, playing double dutch, jumping rope, playing manhunt, playing tag. Like, my weight never slowed me down. I never realized how big I was or my actual size until people pointed it out, and it always came from elders. Always came from the elders. I will say, because I know that my experience is not very common, but I was never bullied by my peers. Always by adults. The adults who, mind you, provided food. I learned the foundational formats of food and like portion control, portion sizes from family, which means they were ginormous plates. And then, of course, if you come from any kind of financial like struggle, we don't waste food. Finish your plate. I did that. But then I'm shamed because the food in my body does something different than how it does for my cousins and my the rest of my family. And mind you, there's people in my family who are thickums. Thickums is cute. They were more than thickums, honey. But that projection was real. And then being around an environment when a child is so impressionable, seeing them critique their bodies and shame their bodies, but then quickly will deflect and be like, to you. It'll be different if it was from a space of concern, of like health. It always came down to vanity, which is wild. So anytime, like friends or, children that are in my circle, like I never bring up weight at all. If anything, I'm always speaking affirmations into them about how smart they are, how kind they are, how loving they are, how beautiful. You're beautiful regardless. There's no but or if only. No. You are perfect. You're beautiful. You're amazing as is just because you exist in this world. I wish that was the messaging that I received. No. And so because from a young age, not really understanding this whole, okay, what is weight? What is being fat? I guess I am that because I can now start seeing how I look different from my friends or the people around me who weren't getting the same kind of critiques as I am. I've started doing all the things they say to do, but it's not working for me. I'm active. I'm running around. I'm doing all the things. I'm on these diets. The weight's not coming up for me. So one can deduce that it must be at a hormone level, or this is just how my body is set up. I just got here. There are other things too. Like I was on steroids from a young age because I was born with eczema and having asthma. Sometimes that reacts in your body where some people have more of the weight gain. Some people tend to develop early with puberty. So all of these factors, but even still, some things are just genetic. But again, they don't care about that. It always went back to, you are not what we want you to look like. This is wrong. You need to fix it, was the messaging that I kept getting. Without any proper guidance, without any proper support, without any proper education. I had gym memberships from like middle school to like figure it out. Would just get dropped off. Go work out. Excuse me? Okay, girl. So yeah, that enough of the took me down a little path there. But I gave all of that background and insight just to give you guys a clearer lens, to see the lens that I have been viewing the body positivity movement. I love what it stands for. I love seeing the people who are so bold and brave. Honestly, there is bravery involved in like putting yourself out there and just saying, regardless of what society says, regardless of all of these expectations and just all of the negative things that come with having this bigger body. I'm just gonna love myself, and I'm gonna highlight it, and I don't care if it makes y'all uncomfortable, because as long as I feel good about myself, that's all that matters. Like, having that level of self confidence and self esteem, it just does something for you, and it's definitely a level and a goal that I am aspiring to get to. Something with age and having access to things and really giving less of a fuck, I feel myself getting there. I yearn for the moment. I'm actively doing the work with therapy, with journaling, with just looking into resources and just being honest about how I feel and things that I care about and could care less about, and getting rid of those things. Again, like being a people pleaser, all of the things that come with that, getting rid of those things will help me to get closer to that goal of just being like, man, fuck all y'all. And you're not gonna make me feel bad. I am who I am regardless. And I look how I look, and I'm beautiful. And as long as I'm healthy, and the areas that I'm not as healthy, as long as I do the work and have the access to get healthy, that's all that matters to me. And that's all that should matter. But it's weird now where people who were at the forefront of the movement are denouncing it, or people are having weird responses to certain influencers losing weight. Like, oh, well, what about body positivity? Why are you losing weight if you were, championing having bigger bodies? And it was just like, for somebody who the body positivity label and movement made me feel uncomfortable, I understood the messaging from day one. I just knew for me, it just didn't feel attainable for me to embody that message, to say it like confidently and like fully realize it. But I never took it as, oh, look at you losing weight, so I guess your body's not as positive as you wanted to say, or feeling like people were like reneging or something. Body positivity, loving your body in all its forms, wherever it's at. It's at the bottom of it. It's self care. I can care and love my body at a bigger size. I can love and care for my body in a smaller size, and I should love and care for my body and throughout the whole process. So even that, like those movements, they pull out the weirdos and everything. Because you get those people that are like, yay, we support this movement and all of these things, and then you see people actually doing the message by taking care of themselves and just being healthy and being fit. And just because weight loss might be an added benefit, or just a reaction to all of the things, an outcome, just a better term. Weight loss might be the outcome to the ways that they've started taking care of their bodies. All of a sudden, they were never about that life. Oh, the messaging is wrong. How do y'all chop and screw that? And then that directly feeds the messaging for people that mislabel body positivity, or misconstrue it rather, as being like glorifying obesity. Those people, they go hand in hand. I can be extreme in a lot of ways. Most things, I'm just like, y'all are really just doing the most. It was never that deep. So yeah, these are just the thoughts that have been coming up for me with everything that's been heavily talked about within the last 2 weeks. I don't think you need to denounce being a body positivity influencer or the movement. If you don't want to use that term or that label anymore, create the content without it. But I guess if that's how you've used it to platform yourself, to be aligned with brands or sponsorship, so I can see being pigeonholed to that and wanting to break out of that. But I feel like you can do that with just the content that you make and just don't really reference it. or use hashtags or label it. Um, but like with any topic or any movement, if you make it your identity, if that's how people have come to know you, it is hard for you to break out of that. So that's the danger, even um, with quickly labeling so much, because you're either always having to explain it, or if you want to pivot and do something different, there are those people that just want you to stay with how they know you or how they prefer to associate you. So I can see how that can feel limiting to where you might want to do something so drastic as to, I'm going to release a formal statement of I'm not doing this anymore. I guess I'm different when it comes to the social media, so I just don't care. It's not that deep for me. Um, Now, if it's something like politics or you're doing something harmful and you're just blatantly um, offending groups of people, yeah, I'm not gonna rock with you. I'm not gonna support anything you're doing. Um, but if it's something where either your own personal growth or evolution you want to broaden, like you've explored different sides of yourself, or um, you've just grown past, like you've grown more than where you were initially. I think people need to allow people. We honestly, that's external validation, Joe. We shouldn't even need people to give us space. Just do what you want to do, as long as you're not harming yourself or anybody. Just change the branding. Change the concept of your content if you want to go beyond that. But those denouncing videos, and I'm not part. This is a spirit, but an example would be all those people denouncing their Greek organizations, the Divine Nine. Um, I have never pledged, so I'm not really in that world. But I always thought it was weird that people made those formal videos or going so public about it with posting letters and things like that. I don't know what the actual process is, if you actually have to denounce it or just you choosing not to be an active member and not paying your dues. Like, why not just do that? Um, it's interesting. But again, human behavior is one of the things that interests me. I'm always wondering, why do people do the things they do? And I do that for myself too. Like, girl, why are you doing that? Let's get to the root. Um, but yeah, that's how I feel in this moment. Again, I appreciate the body positivity movement and what it's done, and whether I felt comfortable with that label for me in saying that, but I benefit so greatly, so much. Like, oh my God, just that. Although a lot of brands and clothing stores have um, started removing as much plus size options, but when during its heyday, um, I definitely benefited from the options, having more access and options to clothing. It always baffled me though that the fitness area has always been scarce for plus size and bigger bodies, because according to y'all, wouldn't I need to be the primary demographic to have access to gym clothing? Please excuse the alarms, y'all. Y'all know I'm in Grayson. I'm in the car. Um, you, society, are telling me that I'm unacceptable in how my current body is because it is bigger than the preferred body type. I should have the most access to fitness attire so that I can go to the gym or work out, whatever form works best for me, to then get to the smaller size, healthier size. But then I don't, because you don't want bigger bodies represented in your brand. Make that make sense. Wouldn't we be your target demographic? And then the goal would be start from the bigger sizes and then work your way down the sizes. So what am I supposed to wear? And I think that's the biggest question that the body positivity movement would like challenge these brands and these clothing stores with was like, the statistics of like bigger bodies in this country, in this world, honestly. And at the end of the day, capitalism and consumerism, you want to be able to sell products, but you're either going to make our stuff super expensive or limit the amount of options as a way to shame us for the bodies that we're currently in. But then what are we supposed to wear? If you're a clothing brand, you should focus on selling clothes to people so that people can buy them and wear them, regardless of the size range that they're in. Do you want the money or not? Is the question for me. I, you know, you know. So, anywho, I know that's a random. This was more of a rant than full episode, but like those are the messaging and just observing the behaviors of certain people and the a lot of internalized fat phobia that exists within the community of people with bigger bodies. Like, again, when you've been conditioned and shamed for so long, even if in your own family they didn't make you feel like that. But once you walk outside, not even advertisements, TV, like there's so much messaging. We're consuming so much propaganda, so much messaging about how you are not right. And you should not be happy. You should not accept yourself. You should not love yourself because you are wrong. And we're going to do everything in our power to make you feel wrong. And the fact that you are creating this movement to say, hey, actually, that is not true. We're going to make you feel like crap. We're going to punish you because now you're challenging us because we don't actually have a good rebuttal to excuse why we're not making clothes to sell to you when we're a clothing brand or store. That goal is to sell clothes to people. And then even within that, like people not wanting to acknowledge that people in bigger bodies do have eating disorders. Just because you're in a bigger body doesn't necessarily mean that you have a large appetite. In a lot of cases, we actually have less of an appetite, and our metabolism is a lot slower. No one wants to talk about that part, or the hormones that, get in there, having higher cortisol levels. Cortisol automatically links to you having more. It's a stress hormone. Any kind of stress, that's inflammation and fat. All of these factors, there's so many factors involved. Then you have to think of the socioeconomic aspect of it. There are a lot of food deserts. A lot of people, it's not that they don't want to have fresh food options, they don't have the option. So you eat the frozen vegetables, you eat the canned vegetables, you try something. And then we talk about, the quality of food here in this country. But nobody wants to take accountability for being the source of the problem. Instead, that's where the victim shaming and the victim blaming primarily is what comes into play. And it doesn't help that, as humans, we tend to have a pecking order and this internal competition. You just want to be like a one-up over somebody. So if there's any way that I can shame you so I can feel better about myself, I'm going to do that. And then the herd mentality kicks in too. Oh, we're all shaming this person? Yes, let's do this to distract from people noticing my flaws. Vicious cycle. Sorry, y'all. So I'm going to go. My sister is here. I guess she can talk to the Bloomies real quick. I was recording an episode.
Oh.
She doesn't want to be on camera, y'all. But I guess we are going to go do what we need to do and get ready for this trip. But I didn't want to not give y'all an episode on this here Sunday. Ooh, the hair is everywhere, child. So I'll talk to y'all later.